Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Shri Shri Radha Bihari Mandir, Shri Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Let's make sure it's going properly. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupananda Guru Varga ki jai, Pati Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Hari Nam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. So we will begin with Mangalacharan, auspicious invocation found on page 1 of this book, Sri Gaudiya Giti Gucha, starting with Vandeham, Vandeham.
Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Shri Krishna Leela Katane Sudaksham Audarya Madhurya Gunaishcha Yuktam Varam Varinyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tvam Shirasha Namami Dinam Bhakta Shiromancha Shri Krishna Padajudataika Hridde Chaitanya Leelamrita Sarasar Narayanam Tvam Satatam Prapadye Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavani Paschatya Deshakarine Namaham Vishnupadaya Gaurapreshthaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Iti Namine Adimadya Charitraya Swashritanancha Paline Jiva Dukhe Sadarataya Shri Nam Premadayine नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती विद्यानामिने श्रीवर्षभारती देवी गणिताय कृपाभये कृष्णा संबंध विज्ञान दयिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वल प्रेमाख्य श्रीरूपानुग भक्तिदा श्रीगौर करुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दिनपालिने रूपानुगं विबुधाप सिद्धान्तध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षाद्वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्हारसम्बोधे पदं पूजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगमनायते गौराविर्भावभूमेस्त्वं निर्देष्टा सजनप्रिया वैष्णव सर्वभौमश्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावनन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नमः गौरद्विषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतं सुरतोपङ्गो मम मन्दमतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्वत्पदम्बोजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यवृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमदो श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीनगोविन्ददेवो प्रेष्ठानिधि सेव्यमानुस्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भे वंशिवततस्थितः कर्षन्मेघस्वरगोपी गोपीनाथः श्रीस्तु नः वृन्दाय तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णा भक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावग्निर्वापनं श्रेयकैरवचन्द्रिका विकरणं विद्यामधुजीवनं आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतास्वादनं सर्वात्मसमनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनं हरेर्नाम हरेर्नाम हरेर्नामेव केवलं करुणस्येव नस्येव नस्येव गतिरन्यथा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Shri Guru Charana Padma, Kevala Bhakti Sarma.
If you hit that screen down and then let it come up again, no, the screen, let it go. Then now hit it. Then you can see who's there. You see,
Radhe Radhe, Dandavad Pranam, all Vaishnavas.
you see how it added
Yeah.
more? Yeah.
So Shri Guru Charana Padma, page 28. SRI-GURU, Charana, C-A-R-A-N-A, Padma, P-A-D-M-A. Shri Guru Charana
Vaisnava Thakur.
Page 39. Starts with O, H-E. O Hey Vaishnava.
Because for us today here in Vrindavan, we are observing the disappearance day of Srivas Thakur, Srivas Pandit, who is of the Panchatattva, known as Bhakta Akyam, the devotee, or the personification of the devotee. Actually, he's none different from Sri Narad Muni. So we will chant Jai Anilo Prema Dhana Karuna Prachur. Page 99 in this book, J-E-A-N-I-L-O. J Anilo. বাংলা বলিতে হবে। না সরি। শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য প্রভু দয়া করো মোরে। Page 96. দয়া করো মোরে। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री कृष्ण
The Srivas Pandit. In Gaur Lila is Srivas, in Krishna Lila he is Narada Muni.
Page 182.
Bhagavatamrita Bolo bolo Hari Bolo. Kamala Soro Nachiya Bole. Bolo bolo Hari Bolo. Kamala Soro Nachiya Bole. Bolo bolo Hari Bolo. Kamala Soro Nachiya Bole. Bolo bolo Hari Bolo. Maro Muni Bajar Mena Adhikaro Manoname. Maro Muni Bajar Mena Adhikaro Manoname. Sahasrano no Parvama Sukhe Hari Hari Bolidai. Sahasrano no Parvama Sukhe Hari Hari Bolidai. Nama Prabhave Matilo Vishwa. Namo Rasa Sameva. Namo Prabhave Matilo Vishwa. Namo Rasa Sameva. Naroda Muni Bajai Mena Radhikaro Manoname. Naroda Muni Bajai Mena Radhikaro Manoname. Shri Krishna Namo Rasa Nispuri. Puraro Yamaro Yasho. Shri Krishna Namo Rasa Nispuri. Puraro Yamaro Yasho. Shri Rupa Pade Jajaye Niha. Bhagavati Nirodadaso. Shri Rupa Pade Jajaye Niha. Bhagavati Nirodadaso. Naroda Muni Bajai Mena Radhikaro Manoname. Naroda Muni Bajai Mena Radhikaro Manoname. Namayani Mudita Hoy. Bhakta Gita Sare. Namayani Mudita Hoy. Bhakta Gita Sare. Naroda Muni Bajai Mena Radhikaro Manoname. Naroda Muni Bajai Mena Radhikaro Manoname. Jaya Radharaman Jaya Radharaman. Radharaman Jaya Radharaman. Jaya Radharaman Jaya Radharaman. Radharaman Jaya Radharaman. Jaya Radharaman Jaya Radharaman. Jaya Radharaman Jaya Radharaman. Jaya Radharaman Jaya Harinama Tuva Aneka Swarupa. Harinama, page 180. It's actually one page back. One page back. Harinamo Tuva Aneka Swarupa. Harinamo Tuva Aneka Swarupa. Harinamo Tuva Aneka Swarupa. Harinamo
Page 362. राधा रानी की जय, महारानी की जय। राधा रानी की जय, महारानी की जय। राधा रानी की जय, महारानी की। राधा रानी की जय, महारानी की जय। राधा रानी की जय, महारानी की जय। वर्षाने वाले की जय 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 बोलो। वर्षाने वाले की जय 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 राधा रमण हरि बोल, 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 जय जय राधा राधा रमण हरि बोल, जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदांत नारायण नित्यनामिने। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नित्यनामिने। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्। First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad, astottara Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaja. In the same thousands of Dandavat Pranam, at the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad, astottara Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga Gauri Guru Varga. And also I offer my Dandavat Pranam to all Vaishnavas, past, present, and future, including all of those who are present with us today. My Dandavat Pranam. So today is the anniversary of the disappearance of Srivas Pandit. Srivas Pandit is a prominent associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We've already heard that in Krishna Lila, he is Narada Muni. Narada Muni has many different forms. Narada Muni is able to play a part in almost every lila, every pastime of the Lord. Very special personality. And he's in also all of the different leelas of the Lord. So he's in Braja Leela, he's in Mathura, Dwarka Leela, Ram's pastimes, Narayan and Vaikuntha. He's expanded everywhere. In the same way that Sutta Goswami said about Shukadev Goswami, Tang Sarva Bhuta Hridayam Muniman Atosmi, that I see that my Gurudeva is present within the hearts of every living entity. So Narada Muni is also expanded unlimitedly within all of Krishna's pastimes, and his function is to always enhance those pastimes by adding a little bit of a different angle to them. So he always increases the transcendental pastimes of Krishna with his devotees. So Narada Muni in Braja Leela, as a sakha or cowherd boy, is Madhu Mangal. Also there is a form as a gopi, Naradiya Gopi. So in so many different ways he's playing his role within the pastimes of the Lord. Just yesterday we were hearing about how when Narada Muni went to Dwarka, he was able to, because he doesn't need to travel on the ground, he can also fly. He's always carrying his veena. He was called the transcendental spaceman, always moving from place to place. Narad Muni Bajai Veena Radhika Ramana Name, always singing the names of Radhika and Raman, Radharaman. So he's moving from place to place. When he went to Dwarka, where Daksha's curse could not touch him, there he saw something very interesting. He saw that in each palace, Krishna was performing his pastimes with his queens and all of his associates, and he was expanded individually and independently. So Krishna in one palace was doing something different than the Krishna in the other palace and different than the other one. 16,108 forms. Narada Muni saw that Krishna had expanded himself like this. So he's present in all the pastimes of the Lord. And also in Gaur Leela as Srivas Pandit, whose day it is today. We sang Jai Anilo Prema Dhana Karuna Prachur. When Sri Ramananda Roy and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were having their beautiful conversation on the banks of the Godavari River, I think, yes. At that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai, what is the greatest suffering? And Ramananda Rai replied, I know no suffering greater than separation from the devotees of the Lord. This is the greatest suffering that I know. There's no suffering greater than this. So in that bhajan, Narottam Das Thakur is saying, Je anilo prema dhana karuna prachur, heno prabhu kota gela acharya Thakur. But at the end he's saying, Ashane kutibo mata anale pashivo goranga gune ranidhi kota gele pavo. That this pain is so great that it would feel better to bash my head on a stone or enter into fire. It would be cooler to enter into fire than feeling this burning separation. What kind of deep separation these Vaishnavas have for each other. They understand this foundational principle of Krishna Bhakti, that Krishna Bhakti janma mool hoy sadhu sangha. The root cause of the birth of Krishna Bhakti, devotion to Krishna manifesting or awakening in our heart, is the association of his pure devotees. And even after the attainment of perfection, still the most essential thing is the association of Krishna's devotees. How powerful is that? So powerful that Krishna himself wanted to experience what it is like to love Krishna from the perspective of a devotee. Therefore he took shelter of the moods, the bhavs of his greatest devotee, Srimati Radhika, and manifested in this world as Sri Shachinandan Gaurahari Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Srivas Pandit, he was contemporary of Mahaprabhu. And from Mahaprabhu's young age, he was known as Nimai Pandit. Nimai Pandit. So he was very, very intelligent. He was always studying and he was also teaching. So this Nimai Pandit, studying so much, Srivas, who was already a devotee of Krishna, would always tell him, what is the use of studying so much? The end goal of studying is that you should become a devotee of Krishna. So why not just skip all of that and become a devotee of Krishna? And that time Sachinandan Gaurahari would respond, oh, one day by your blessings, I'm sure I will become a devotee of Krishna. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that time still he was Sachinandan Gaurahari. After sannyas, he became known as Sri Krishna Chaitanya, and then the Mahaprabhu was tagged on afterward. So at that time he was known as Nimai or Vishwambhar or Sachinandan Gaurahari. Sachinandan means son of Mother Shachi. Gaurahari means beautiful golden Hari. So he went to meet with his guru in Gaya, Sri Ishwar Puripad, and he received mantra from him, took shelter of him, and everything changed. After that, he was no longer considered the normal Nimai Pandit. He became known as Bhavuk Nimai, full of bhav. And he was in such a state that so many were laughing at him. Even his own mother thought he was going crazy. This is a natural exhibition of one who is tasting prem. Evam vratasva priyanāmakitya jātānurāgo dritachitta uchai asattito roditi rotigayat yunmādavan ritati lokabahya. Completely mad, weeping, all hair standing on ends. Horripilation means goosebumps. Voice choked up, sometimes rolling on the ground, sometimes dancing and singing loudly, sometimes fainting. Sometimes the whole body is trembling and shivering. Ashtasattvic bhavs. So these kind of symptoms were manifesting in the form and the person of Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari. And even his own mother thought, what is happening to my son? He's going crazy. But when he spoke with Srivas Pandit, Srivas Thakur, Srivas assured him, he said, do you think I'm crazy? He said, no, I see in you the symptoms of becoming mad in ecstasy for Krishna. That time Sachinandan Gaurahari said, oh good, if you would have thought I was crazy, then I would have gone and jumped in the Ganga and finished my life. So Srivas gave him this encouragement in bhakti, and this is the nature of a Vaishnava, of a devotee, always encouraging devotees in their bhakti. Always encouraging devotees in their bhakti. So Srivas was encouraging him. Srivas is technically senior to him. Srivas Pandit was already there as a Pandit. Not like the childhood friends, he was already senior to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to Sachinandan Gaurahari. But Sachinandan Gaurahari performed so many pastimes in the house of Srivas, in his own courtyard. We know that he would always perform his nighttime kirtans in the courtyard of Srivas Thakur. Nighttime kirtans. These were not a free-for-all. When he would do Nagar Sankirtan, Harinam Sankirtan in the streets, at that time anyone would join. But when he was doing those pastimes in the courtyard of Srivas, at that time the doors were closed. This also proves that sometimes there may be incompatibilities. If anyone is not qualified to be there, then it can create some disturbance of mood for the Lord. And no devotee likes this, including Srivas. So one time it was Srivas Pandit's mother-in-law. She wanted to see the beautiful kirtan and dancing of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So she hid it in a basket and she was watching from that basket. But no one knew she was there, except Mahaprabhu felt something isn't right. I'm not feeling the mood, it's not moving in my heart properly. There must be some influence here which is not favorable. Just as if you are with your beloved and you feel that someone might be spying through the windows, you'd feel very hesitant. So at that time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is experiencing Maharas while he is dancing, while he's chanting. And only those who were very intimate associates were able to be present with him at that time. So Srivas Thakur's mother-in-law, she was hiding in this basket. Mahaprabhu was not feeling the same jubilation. Some disturbing mood was there. So Srivas and others began searching everywhere, and they found her. She was there hiding in the basket. And according to Chaitanya Bhagavat, they removed her by her hair. You are not qualified to be here. You have interrupted and disrupted the mood of the Lord. This is a very important teaching. We should be very careful not to create any rasa abhas, anything which disrupts or disturbs the mood of the Lord. When Krishna wants to taste the bhav of Srimati Radhika, we should not try to reinforce on him that you are Krishna, you are Krishna, you are Krishna. This will create a disturbance in his bhav. What is the nature of the devotee? What is the nature of every soul? Jivera Swarupahoy Krishner Nityadas. It is to please Krishna for his happiness, his pleasure, his benefit, for what is favorable for him. That is bhakti. That is devotion. So no devotee would want to disrupt or disturb his bhav or his lila. And if there is any disturbance, then they will do what they can to remove that disturbance. So there's the very powerful lesson in that. Before I continue to the next pastime, I just want to share one thing. Srivas Thakur is mentioned among the Pancha Tattva, the 5 transcendental truths, which are all part of the same one absolute truth. The same Sri Krishna himself appeared as Sachinandan Gaurahari. Brajendranandana Jay Shachi Shuta Hoilo She Balarama Hoilo Nitai. The same Brajendranandan Shyamasundar Sri Krishna, imbued with the mood and sentiment of Srimati Radhika and her complexion, manifested in this world as Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In that same Baladev Prabhu, Ashray Tattva. He's actually not different from Krishna, but his mood is only made of loving service to Krishna, as is Srimati Radhika's mood. So he manifested as Sri Nityananda Prabhu in this world. Direct, original, avatari, not an avatar. The original Krishna manifested as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, no difference. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, Nahe Anya. There is no difference between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. Very, very deep esoteric truths have been mentioned in this regard in Chaitanya Bhagavat and especially Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And all of our great Mahabhagavat, Rupan, Guru Varga, Vaisnavas have confirmed these statements by their love, by Tattva Siddhanta, by all Shastra. They have confirmed these, so we accept this as truth. So, in this prayer, Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. 5 tattvas are mentioned, and they're considered all part of the one supreme tattva. Advaigyan Tattva Braje Brajendranandan, or in this case, Advaigyan Tattva Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari, because he's non-different. Non-different. So, how are they considered one and the same? Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam. They're all part of Krishna. Non-different. Bhakta Rupa, the form of the Bhakta, that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Swarupakam means Bhakta Swarup. Bhakta Swarup means the form of the Bhakta, or the nature of the Bhakta is manifested as Ashray Tattva or Baladev Prabhu or Nityananda Prabhu. Bhakta Avataram, the avatar of Vishnu or non-different form of Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu avatar Sri Advaita Chandra. That is Advaita Acharya. So Bhakta Avataram, he's manifesting as a Bhakta, but he is avatar. This is Advaita Acharya. Bhaktakyam, and then Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. So Bhakta Shakti is Shakti, manifesting as Bhakta. That is Gadadhar Pandit, and also the manifestations of Gadadhar Pandit, who is not different from Srimati Radhika. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitavistabhirya Evani Jarupataya Kalavi. Srimati Radhika manifests herself unlimitedly in all of the forms of the gopis and even her maidservants. That is her nature, because she knows that Krishna wants to experience more and more transcendental nectar. So, Bahukant Vinanhe Raser Ulas. Without so many different kantas, Ulas, the transcendental peak of perfection of happiness for Krishna, cannot be manifested. So she manifests unlimited forms, which are manifestations of her own moods and bhavs of love and affection for Krishna. That is like Lalita, Vishaka, all of the gopis. They are her manifestations. And also the maidservants, like Rup Rati, Ananga Manjari, all of them. So in Gaur Lila, we see Gadadhar Pandit. This is Bhakta Shakti. Shakti coming as Bhakta. Lalita has come as Swarup Damodar Goswami. Vishaka has come as Ramananda Rai. Rup Manjari has come as Rup Goswami. Rati Manjari, Sanatan, Lavanga Manjari, Sanatan Goswami, Rati Manjari, Raghunath Das Goswami. Like this. So we see all of these transcendental personalities. This is Bhakta Shakti. Now we're coming to Bhaktakyam, the pure devotee. This is Bhakta Akyam, known as Bhakta, the pure devotee, who is exemplified in the form of Narada Muni and in Gaur Lila as Srivas Pandit. But also all of the other devotees who have all of the other moods, like friendship, with Aishwarya also, all of the different bhavs and moods, all of the Vaishnavas, that mood as a servant or friend. This is represented by Srivas Thakur. And although they are different, they are all part of the same. We cannot separate the Bhakta from the Lord Himself. There is nothing that can actually be separated from God, because there is nothing outside of God. Everything is within or part of God, and that is known as Advai Gyan Paratattva, supreme non-dual, absolute truth. So Srivas Pandit, he is the embodiment of this Bhakta, the devotee. So we are actually following in that mood, that line of the devotee, serving Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all of them are serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Prabhu is serving, Advaita Acharya is serving, Gadadhar Pandit is serving, Srivas and all other devotees are serving Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he has come as Guru. So he's instructing, and they are worshipping him as Guru, which he happened to also manifest in the house of Srivas Pandit. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the house of Srivas Pandit was performing this special kirtan every night in Srivas Sangam. And that place was very special. Because of that, still to this day, we go to that place, we honor that place, we offer pranam in that place, take the dust from that place on our heads, and pray that one day we may gain entrance into that very special, private, magnificent kirtan of Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari and his intimate associates. So in that place, because they were doing kirtan regularly every night, in the neighboring areas of Navadvip, there were actually so many atheists at the time. And also, so many persons who were against Krishna Bhakti. They had affection for or faith in the form of God known as Allah. So they were Muslim. And they did not like also that the Vaishnavas were doing kirtan through the night. They considered it a disturbance. So there were many atheistic persons, Pashandis, Nashtiks, also so many Smarta Brahmins, so many persons that were disturbed by the loud noise. Hey, why don't you quiet down? Why don't you pray in private? Why are you creating a disturbance? And some of them, there was actually one named Chapal Gopal, or Gopal Chapala, he actually placed some Durga Puja items at the door of Srivas. Although Srivas is a Krishna Bhakta, but he made it look like he's doing Shakti Puja. When Srivas opened the door in the morning and he saw all of this, it was actually meant as a way to defame Srivas. So this Chapala Gopal or Gopal Chapala, he had put this Chandi or Kali Puja, Devi Puja ingredients at Srivas's door to defame him. When Srivas saw it, he said, yes, I am a Shakta, I am a worshipper like this. He accepted it. Sure, go ahead, say this about me. You can say whatever you like about me. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very upset. Mahaprabhu became upset. This is what happens when Vaishnava aparad is made. The Vaishnava never accepts any aparad to himself. But a Vaishnava may accept aparad to any other Vaishnava or aparad to the Lord. And the Lord, because he is also so near and dear to the Vaishnava, he says that my Vaishnavas, they are my life and soul. Govinda kohina mama Vaishnava parana. Govinda himself is saying, my Vaishnavas are my life and soul. Then any criticism, any falsity, any aparad, anything which is against affection, which is cast toward his devotee, he takes it personally. His devotee is always bowing his head at the feet of Krishna. So when you shoot arrows at the devotee of Krishna, where do those arrows go? They go to Krishna. So he takes it personally. So he was very upset. Initially, that he said, whoever has done this, they will have to suffer. What is the result? There are certain diseases which come as a result of severe Vaishnava aparad. One of them is considered leprosy. So this Chapal Gopal immediately developed symptoms of leprosy. And Mahaprabhu was very, very angry and upset with him for trying to defame and for making offense to Srivas Pandit. He said, I will never see him. He can suffer in hell for his actions. But later on, this Chapal Gopal was repenting greatly. And he came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and fell at his feet. And just as Srimad Narayan told Durvasa, when Durvasa had offended Maharaja Ambarish, Durvasa went to Narayan begging for relief from Narayan's chakra. And Narayan said, I'm not at all independent. Aham bhakta paradhina. I'm not at all independent. If a thorn goes into your foot, can you pull it out of the head? No, you must pull it out from where it went in. And then Narayan told him, Sadava hridaya mahyam sadava hridaya tvaham. I don't know anyone but my devotees, and they don't know anyone but me. So Durvasa immediately understood this instruction of Srimad Narayan and went and fell at the feet of Ambarish Maharaj, who never took any offense in the first place. He was thinking, why is this great, powerful yogi, devotee of the Lord, falling at my feet? No, I have made offense to you. And he picked him up and embraced him. This is the nature of a Vaishnava. But the Lord himself will accept offense. That's why Vaishnava Parad is considered Hati Mata, like a mad elephant. If you have a nice garden, beautiful nice garden, and a mad elephant runs through there, what will happen to your garden? So this is Vaishnava Aparad. So finally Mahaprabhu told this Chapala Gopal or Gopal Chapala, you have to go to that person whom you have offended and beg forgiveness from them. This is the way of receiving forgiveness. And not just begging forgiveness, but to such a point that their heart again melts and manifests in the form of Harikatha, and they again give you Krishna. Srila Gurudeva Maharaja explained this. How do you know that you're forgiven? Not only when they say, I've never accepted any offense, how can I forgive you? But when they again give you Krishna in the form of Harikatha, because Krishna is dependent upon the devotee, then he cannot help himself. When Sri Guru asks Krishna to stand in these forms, to remain here, Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj explained, because his pure devotee has asked him to remain in these forms, he must remain so. So anyone who thinks, they're only there when I'm worshipping them, and then I need to go on vacation or travel to India or go somewhere for a week, so I'll just put them in a box or not take care of them. It's great seva aparad to Thakurji, because they cannot leave, because the pure devotee has requested them to stay. until a pure devotee comes and says, you leave. Krishna is bound by the word of the pure devotee. That's why Krishna told Arjuna, now Krishna, he vowed, I will never take any weapon up in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. I will not take any weapon. But we see that he broke his vow. Right? When Bhishma Dev was shooting his arrows so expertly and diligently by the thousands and millions at Krishna and Arjuna, he was actually creating a bit of a difficulty for Arjuna. Bhishma Dev is so powerful. That time Krishna became really upset, angry. He jumped off the chariot, grabbed a broken chariot wheel that had come off another chariot, grabbed that and ran toward Bhishma Dev with the intent of finishing him off with this chariot wheel. Bhishma Dev was so excited. Wow, my Lord Krishna has given up his vow for me. He threw down his bow and he said, come on, let's have it. Arjuna ran and grabbed Krishna and said, no, 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 Krishna, you promised you would not take up any weapon. So Krishna ended up throwing that chariot wheel away. It ended up in a place known as Eka Chakra, and that is the place of the birth of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. So, Krishna broke his vow. So when Krishna is saying, Shikram bhavati dharmatma, shashvach chantim negachati, kaunteya pratijanihi, name bhaktya pranashyati. He's telling Arjuna, you, O Arjuna, you should declare boldly that my devotee will never fail. That my one-pointed ekantik bhakta will never perish. Name bhakta pranashyati, will never be destroyed. Krishna is telling Arjuna that you should declare it. Because if the devotee makes the promise, then the Lord is bound to keep it. As we've seen with... if the devotee makes the promise, then the Lord is bound to keep it. As we've seen in the history of Sri Ram and Hanuman. So, once upon a time, there was a criminal. He committed very terrible, atrocious activities. And because Sri Ram himself is known as Maryada Purushottama, the Supreme Personality of maintaining and establishing rules and regulations according to Shastra, this criminal was to be put to death. So Sri Ram made a statement, by 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, this person will die. That person became deathly afraid. He ran to Narada Muni, please help me, help me, help me. What should I do? I'm going to be put to death by 4 o'clock tomorrow. Sri Ram swore and he never tells a lie. He must uphold his truth. Narada Muni said, go to Hanuman and you beg Hanuman, but don't tell him who's going to kill you. Just say someone is going to kill you. And they promised to do it by 4. Beg him, fall at his feet, and don't let go till he promises to give you shelter. So that man ran to Hanuman. Hanuman, please help me. Help me. Falling at his feet, please give me shelter. Someone is going to kill me. They promised they would kill me tomorrow at 4. Please be merciful to me. Hanuman said, don't worry. I've got this taken care of. I will look after you. No one will harm you. No one will come near you. It won't happen. At 4 o'clock, sure enough, Sri Ram showed up with his bow and arrow. Where is that villain? I must put him to death. I made a vow, I had put him to death. Hanuman stood in front and said, I made a vow, I will protect him. So, over my dead body. This happened. So, at that time, Ram, what could he do? His devotee took precedence. The Lord had to honor the vow of his pure devotee. That is why it is so imperative that we take shelter of his pure devotee. When they petition on our behalf, when they protect us, when they take us under their shelter, then we are even protected from the Lord himself. One time, Gurudev, he was speaking on the phone. We were in Fiji, and we were just watching him. We were sitting on the couch from the other side of the room. It was kind of a long room, Kanti Punja's house. And Gurudev came out of his room to take a phone call. He was just sitting there for a long time, speaking on the phone. And we were thinking, oh, wow, our Gurudev speaks on the phone, how sweet. And then after, there's some little pastime that took place. Then Gurudev said, you should be very careful. So we came and we sat just at his feet. And he looked at Sudevi and he said, you should be careful. Krishna, he will try to make you a queen in Dwarka. And Sudevi said to him, "Oh Gurudeva, I'm not afraid of Krishna." He said, "No? Why not?" And she said, "Because I know you will protect me from him." And Gurudev said, "Yes." This is why we must take shelter of the pure devotee of Krishna. Because Krishna consents to be controlled by the love of his pure devotee. And so whatever shelter we have of the pure devotee, to the degree that we have shelter, to that degree we are protected even from the cheatingness of Krishna. He will try to give us anything else. But Sri Guru, or the pure devotee, the Vaishnava, will even protect us from Krishna, as Hanuman protected this personality from Sri Ram. So now, coming back to the point of Srivas Pandit. So Srivas, I hope I'm not missing something. Srivas Pandit, he was protecting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was protecting Sachinandan Gaurahari from Rasabas again and again and again. In some of his pastimes we see that things seem to be a little strange. From a material perspective, it's very, very difficult to comprehend, because it seems wrong from a material perspective. But from a transcendental perspective, from the perspective of one who knows and sees the truth, who is a tattvadarshi, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Dehinosmin yata dehe komaram yovanam jara tata dehantara praptya dhiras tatra namuhyati. That as the embodied soul continually passes from childhood to boyhood to youth to old age, and then into death, and then continues onward, a self-realized soul who understands that no soul can ever die, he's not bewildered by this. Dhiras tatra namuhyati. He is sober. Means his mind is fixed. He's not disturbed by these things. So once upon a time, Srivas Pandit, he was hosting Sachinandan Gaurahari and beautiful kirtan. And something happened in his household. Very terrible thing. His only son had passed away. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sachinandan Gaurahari, was absorbed in his Maharasa Kirtan, manifesting all ecstatic bhavas, dancing and chanting and weeping and everything. And Srivas Pandit heard all of the ladies of the house weeping loudly. I don't know if it doesn't happen the same in the West. People kind of bottle their feelings up and kind of do it in private. But in India, when someone in the family leaves this world, they really let it out. And it is heartbreaking to see. It sucks you into that pain just to be around it, to see it, that separation, how they let it out, loudly screaming and crying and wailing. So Srivas Pandit's family, all the ladies of the house, everyone, they were weeping and crying loudly. Srivas heard it and thought, this is going to disturb the moods of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That would be rasa abhas. What is the nature of the devotee? To give pleasure and happiness, to serve Krishna for his pleasure, his happiness, his benefit. What is favorable for Krishna? Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam. That is pure bhakti. Anything which disrupts that, keep it very far away. So Srivas Pandit went and he told them, you should be quiet. Don't disturb. Don't disturb the Lord's pastimes and his moods. But they were still crying and weeping so loud. And he knew why they were crying. His only son had passed away. But he wasn't going to disturb Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he told them, because they kept weeping loudly, he told them, if you do not stop this loud crying, if you create a disturbance for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I will have no reason to maintain my life. I will go and jump in the Ganga immediately and finish my life. They understood what he was saying and they became somewhat quiet. It seems very harsh, but from a perspective of a pure devotee who is not bewildered by the change of bodies, who is not attached to anything of this material world, who has no attraction to anything of this material world. He appears to be living in this material world, but he has no touch of this material world, like a lotus flower. It is somehow in the material world, it is connected underneath to the mud, but it is completely floating above. It has no touch of the water or the mud or anything else. So Srivas quieted them down, and then he went back to join the Kirtan of Mahaprabhu. But Mahaprabhu at that time was feeling there's something, some mood is disrupting again. What is that mood? So he asked Srivas, what has happened? What has happened? And Srivas was like, no, nothing. Everything is okay. Srivas was just admiring the beauty of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How beautiful you look when you are dancing like this. And Mahaprabhu was like, no, something happened. What happened? And then the other devotees told him, oh, his only son has just passed away. Mahaprabhu said, why didn't you tell me? And Srivas said, I did not want to disturb your moods. I didn't want to disturb your dancing and your kirtan. And Mahaprabhu said, how can I ever repay someone who has this kind of mood of dedication to me? It is said that he was actually already planning and thinking to take sannyas, but internally he was thinking, how can I take sannyas when the devotees have this much love and affection and dedication to me? So immediately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sachinandan Gaurahari, went to see that boy who had passed away. And he said, oh, wake up, wake up. Immediately that boy woke up. We've seen this also in Srimad Bhagavatam in the pastime of Chitraketu Maharaja's son, when Narada Muni and Angira Rishi came, and they woke up Chitraketu Maharaja's son. And they spoke very similar things. So Srivas Pandit's son woke up, and Mahaprabhu said, why have you left this house? You were in an association of devotees. You had everything here. Why have you left? And this boy began to speak very beautiful Jiva Tattva. That for one who takes birth, death is certain. I have gone on to the next location, and I'm fine where I am. So I have no need to be here. I'm fine, everything is okay. And he spoke so many beautiful kathas about the nature of the soul. How the soul is eternal, the body is temporary. Devotees asked our Gurudev, but he was there in Gaur Lila. While Mahaprabhu was doing kirtan, why did he leave at that time? Why did he want to leave the association of Mahaprabhu and Srivas Thakur? Gurudev explained that he must have gone to a superior destination. Superior? Yes, superior destination. What is the goal? What does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu want us to do? What does he instruct Raghunath Das Goswami to do? What has he instructed all of his devotees to do? Not to worship himself. Sometimes he manifested that mood in Srivasangam. But really it's to worship Radha and Krishna. Right? Rajay Radha Krishna Manasa Seva Korive. Always remembering the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. In Vrindavan. Remembering their pastimes in Vrindavan. So this is the goal, right? Diving deep into the waves, the ocean of Gaur Prem, one will manifest in Sri Vrindavan Dham, on the banks of Jamuna, in the association of Sri Sri Radhika and Madhava. What is that Narottam Das Thakur is saying? Gaur Prema Rasar Nave Se Tarange Jeva Rube Se Radha Madhava Antaranga. So this is the goal of serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is to have this kind of connection. So Gurudev said it must have been that he had gone on from there, from that Gaur Lila, he was present in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Maybe as a gopi, Gurudev said, maybe as a gopi. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called that person back. Oh no, I'm happy where I am. Everything is perfect. So please allow me to go back to what I was doing. And this is the goal of being with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu orders everyone, chant Hare Krishna, Niraparara Nam Loilo Pai Premadhan, and attain Prem. Prem of what? Krishna. Krishna Prem. What kind of Krishna Prem? Ramya Ka Chidupasana Vrajavadu Vargena Ya Kalpita. In the wake, in the mood of the gopis of Vrindavan. Especially those who are serving
the gopis of Vrindavan. Shri Rupa Manjari Pada Se Mor Sampada Se Mor Bhajana Pujan. Like that. So, in this case, then that boy, he left, and then everyone was okay. They understood that he was in a much better place. When we think our dear family members have left, and we don't think that they've gone to a much better place, then we can feel so much desperate separation from them. But if we have faith in our hearts that they have improved their position, that they're so much better and happier now than they were previously, that should be a cause for joy. Some separation feeling may be there, but more than that, joy should manifest. If any family member has been chanting, has been taking shelter of the process of bhakti, has taken shelter of Sri Guru, has absorbed their minds in contemplating subjects and topics of Krishna, and all Vaishnavas are praying for them as they have departed this world, we should be dancing with joy in our hearts for their positive destination. What a great positive opportunity they've received. So in this case, Srivas was very strong. Why was he so strong? Guru na sasyat, svajano na sasyat, pita na sasyat, janani na sasyan, daivam na sasyan, napatishta sasyan, namojayadyas samupeta mrityum. Anyone, any relationship that cannot help us to free ourselves from the path which leads to death, that relationship is fit to be rejected. It is not favorable for our progress on the path of bhakti. And any relationship which increases our attraction, our devotion to Krishna, our bhakti, that relationship should be kept. That is called anukulyasya sankalpa. What is favorable for bhakti, I will keep that in my life. What is unfavorable for bhakti, I will keep it at a far distance or pranam forever. Even what was once favorable might become unfavorable at a certain point. Then we also are duty bound to keep it at a far distance. It may happen like that as well. Like Srila Bhakti Rakshak Srila Maharaja explained, progress means selection and elimination, and there is no end to progress. What was once favorable may no longer be favorable, and I will have to take the next step. That Mahaprasadam which came today, I've taken all of that in. And now I have to let that go, and I have to accept a new plate of Mahaprasad the next day. So progress means selection and elimination, and there is no end to progress. So Srivas Pandit has showed us by his own example what is not favorable for pleasing Krishna. Then I should take a very strong stance. I should keep this far away. And our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Kishori Goswami Maharaj, he actually explained, and it's quite strong, but to the degree that we consider Vaishnavas our own, means those who are dedicated to Krishna, that we have mamata, a possessive mood toward them, not because of the love they show to us, not for any material reason that I am getting gratification from this, but rather that I am receiving bhakti inspiration from this. The desire to serve Krishna is awakening in my heart, and therefore I am developing attachment there, mamata, and vishramba seva, very intimate service to that Vaishnava. To that degree, and also to the degree that I consider all of those who are not devotees, who are not helping me to progress on the path of devotion to Krishna, who are not aiding my soul toward its perfection, but maybe they're also trying to pull me away from devotion and bhakti, to the degree that I consider them outsiders and keep a distance from them, then I can be considered Vaishnava, or actually embarking on the path of bhakti. It seems like a harsh thing from a materialistic perspective, and I chose that term very carefully. Materialistic perspective. If we're looking through the vision of materialism, then we will think, oh, this is so harsh. If we're looking from the vision of bhakti, from Krishna's perspective, or the perspective of a devotee, then we will think, oh, this is the most beautiful thing. The most beautiful thing. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, In relation with Srivas Thakur, one day he told Srivas, because they were doing kirtan so constantly, day and night, Mahaprabhu told Srivas, maybe you need to work a little bit and to maintain yourself and your family. You should do something to make a little bit of money so that you can maintain. He was being affectionate and kind. Srivas Thakur, he said, no. Krishna is everything. Just by taking shelter of Harinam Prabhu, everything will be manifest. And Krishna promises this in Bhagavad-gita, in the verse, Ananyaschintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. For one who is exclusively one-pointed to me, Ananya, no other. Ananyaschintayanto mam, always thinking of me. Ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. I will carry what they lack, and I will preserve what they have. Means if they're missing something, I will provide it. And what they have, I will preserve that. Krishna promises this. And this is the basic foundational definition of Shraddha. Shraddha means faith. Not just any faith. What kind of faith? According to all Shastra, this term, Shraddha Shabde, Vishwas Kohe, those who know, they say about Shraddha, Sudrida Nishchoy Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarvakarma Krita Hoy. What is it? That just by endeavoring and engaging in the processes of bhakti, devotional service to Krishna. Bhakti doesn't mean just the external practices, it means with your heart, with exclusive surrender and taking shelter of Krishna, that automatically Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarvakarma Krita Hoy. By Krishna Bhakti, all obligations, all karmas, all duties are automatically accomplished. Or Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj would so succinctly say, nothing to do, Baba, nothing to do. He would speak like this, nothing to do. And he exemplified it himself in his own sannyas. When they came and said, sign this paper and your family can get your pension. He said, I can't sign the paper. I've taken sannyas. I am dead to the world. I cannot sign that paper. So he didn't sign it. And yet Krishna maintained that family thousands of times better than he ever did when he was in that marriage ashram previously. So he actually showed it in his own life. Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarvakarma Krita Hoy. And what are the symptoms of Shraddha? Shraddhat Panyopaya Vajan Bhaktun Mukhi Chitra Vritti Vishesha. What is that? Such a Sharanapati Lakshana. Lakshana, or the internal intrinsic symptoms of Shraddha or faith, are the symptoms of surrender. Sharanagati. Accepting everything that is favorable for developing bhakti for Krishna, for pleasing Krishna. Rejecting, avoiding everything that is unfavorable for that. Accepting that Krishna is my protector, exclusively, like Prahlad. Rakshishyati iti vishvasha. Goptritvevaranantata. Krishna is my maintainer. Atmanik shape. Completely surrendering to Krishna. My independence, everything. I'm giving myself to Krishna. And Karpanye means with deep humility. Deep respect, deep honor. So these are the 6 symptoms of Sharanagati, which are the intrinsic symptoms of Shraddha. So, as we can tell, Shraddha does not only mean faith. Yeah, I believe. It's much deeper than that. And so we should try to understand these terms according to the descriptions given by our Guru Varga and our Shastras, by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What is Shraddha? Not only I believe. You can believe and not practice any aspect of Sharanagati, so belief is not enough on its own. But what are the symptoms of Paramarthik Shraddha? Srivas Thakur exhibited these symptoms. What are those symptoms? He said, no, I will only take shelter of Harinam, and then he clapped his hands 3 times. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, what are you doing? He said, if on the first day Krishna does not provide anything for us, if on the second day he does not provide anything for us, then on the third day I myself, along with my whole family, we will go and jump in the Ganga. Because Krishna promises that if we dedicate exclusively to him, he will maintain. Srivas had this kind of strong faith. This is the faith of a real bhakta. Bhaktakyam. He had this exclusive kind of shraddha in Krishna, that Krishna's word, that he will maintain his devotees, is prevalent. That simply by doing Krishna bhakti, everything else is automatically taken care of. There's nothing else to do. At that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so pleased by his mood, he blessed Srivas. Fully blessed him. He said, for a devotee like you, maybe Lakshmi Devi herself, the goddess of fortune, may have to beg. But you, any devotee like you, will never have to beg for anything. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu blessed him as such. Srivas Sangam was also the place where the Chandkazi came. Chandkazi, I actually read a different name of him today. We know of Maulana Chandkazi, but there's another title as well. I read it from Bhaktivedanta Maharaja, I can't remember. So he came there when so many people were complaining. So many Brahmins, so many Pandits, so many others, so many Pashandis, so many Muslims, so many atheists. They were complaining about these kirtans. So he went there and he broke the mridanga of Srivas Thakur, of that kirtan. He broke the mridanga. And also some of his guards beat some of the devotees with sticks. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very upset, very angry. Now this is during the Muslim rule in India, which was quite a heavy and harsh time. I mean, thousands, millions of people disappeared from the face of the earth at that time. And yet, when this happened, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became so upset, angry. He engaged all of the devotees, hundreds of thousands. He said, meet us at night time, and we're going with a big Harinam Sankirtan party. He ordered them to all carry torches. And hundreds of thousands carrying torches marched on the mansion of the Chandkazi. As they were doing this loud kirtan, Mahaprabhu was dancing in the front. So many mridangas, kartals, and devotees chanting, and all going with torches. That doesn't mean a flashlight. That means a long stick with fire on top. Hundreds of thousands. They completely trampled the gardens of Chandkazi. Trampled those gardens. And everyone who heard this, who were opposed to the kirtan, started feeling some fear in their heart. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went directly to the door of Chandkazi. This was a massive revolution. It was a movement against the oppression, interestingly enough. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought all of them to the door, and then he spoke kind words. He said, I promise no harm will come to you. Chandkazi had gone deeply into his place and was hiding in his panic room. But Mahaprabhu sent the message, I promise no harm will come to you, I just want to speak with you. So then Chandkazi used some nice words back to him, that you are like my nephew, because he's contemporary of Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra, the parents of Sachinandan Gaurahari. So he said, you are like my nephew. So then a beautiful conversation resumed or began inside. It was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Chandkazi. And that's all documented in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, I believe. At that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was speaking with Chandkazi. Where is it in your scripture that it says you have to kill cows? And he said, there's no place in our scripture that says we have to kill cows. And he said, you're taking the milk from the cow. And Chandkazi said, yes. And he said, well, if you're taking the milk from anything, then that animal, that cow is like your mother. And he agreed. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, so from now on, don't kill the cows. They're your mother. And the bull is tilling the field, so he's like your father. You should give respect and honor. So with very strong and clear arguments proving what was not there in their scripture, why are you doing this? There's no proof of this in your scripture. Then Chandkazi accepted. And after some time, Chandkazi revealed something to Mahaprabhu. He said, after I broke that mridanga, that night I had a dream. And in that dream, very fierce form manifested to me, half man and half lion. He was so angry, and he said, just as you have broken that drum open, I'm going to break you open. And he said, I was so afraid, and he began to scratch at my chest. And then he said, I began to plead for my life, and he said, promise you will never do this again, and you will never create any problem for the Sankirtan party again. And he said, I vowed. And then he opened his shirt and revealed that actually it wasn't just in his dream, but he actually had scratch marks on his chest. This was Lord Nrsingadev threatening Chankazi. So, at that time, after that time, it is said that Chankazi never disturbed the Harinam party ever again. In fact, he became a devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he also promised to Mahaprabhu that no one in my generation, in my dynasty, will disrupt your Harinam Sankirtan party. And he gave a special emblem, his own emblem, the emblem of the governor, to Mahaprabhu. You carry this in your Harinam Sankirtan party. It looks like two moons, two crescent moons, kind of together like this. You carry this, and none of our people will disturb you in your kirtan. And so we go to his place, Chankazi's place, and we honor Chankazi. That not only did he create a situation where Mahaprabhu's kirtan could flourish, but he also made sure that no one would disturb that kirtan, and he also became a devotee of the Lord. So we honor him. So Srivas Thakur, by his mercy, also so many beautiful pastimes took place in Srivas Thakur's home. The time is getting late. Mahaprabhu manifested all of the different avatars. He manifested in Srivas Thakur's home the universal form. He also manifested the form as universal mother, Lakshmi Devi, for all of the devotees. And Srivas Thakur saw all of these different manifestations. There's also the history of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordering Srivas that we will observe Guru Purnima, means we will worship Vyasadeva, Sri Guru. So he said you should be ready and prepare all of the paraphernalia. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came a little late, and at that time Srivas was there, they were waiting. And Mahaprabhu said, Nityananda Prabhu's here, why has the festival not begun? Because he saw Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu is his Madhavendra Puri's god brother, because they both took initiation from Lakshmi Patitirtha. So Nityananda Prabhu is the god brother of Mahaprabhu's grand guru. So Mahaprabhu saw him as senior, and Nityananda Prabhu accepted Shiksha from Madhavendra Puri, his own god brother. So Mahaprabhu is like, he's the senior most here, he should perform this Vyas Puja ceremony. Nityananda Prabhu had been delaying. He had the garland and he was kind of like, And Mahaprabhu was saying, come on, go ahead, begin, start this festival, put the garland on Vyas. Nityananda Prabhu went over to Mahaprabhu and placed it on him, that you are the Vyas of all Vyasas, you are the source of all Vyasas. And he showed to everyone that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the original Supreme Lord, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Srivas Thakur is present in all of these pastimes and so many more, but there's not enough time. So we will end here on this pastime, remembering the glories of Srivas Thakur, his deep faith in the process of bhakti, his exclusive dedication at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how he served Mahaprabhu with his life, his soul, and how he did not want to create any disturbance. How he is always serving in every pastime of the Lord, but from Srivas Thakur himself, we can learn how to have this exclusive mood of only doing what is favorable for Krishna, even at our own expense, even at the expense of everyone around us. What is favorable and what is pleasing to Krishna, what is for his benefit, to not create any disturbance to that, only to enhance and serve Krishna and his pastimes. From that, we can also pray to Srivas Pandit that may even a particle of your moods, a drop of your moods, manifest in our hearts, that we can develop this kind of exclusive bhakti to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gaura Prem, and that we can also develop this kind of exclusive bhakti at the lotus feet of our Gurudev, and also to Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. That we will not disturb, that we will only do what is favorable, that we will always endeavor to serve, and that we may one day develop real Shraddha, real faith in the process of bhakti. Shri Srivas Thakur ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanagi Guru Varga ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. And now I see the questions. We're going to have to address these tomorrow. Oh. I'll just address this one quickly. Why do the kirtan at night while everyone is sleeping? It is to be expected that especially those of other faiths were disturbed. Why do it at night when everyone else is resting? Because it is pleasing to Krishna. And it is beneficial for everyone, whether they realize it or not. That's what Haridas Thakur told Mahaprabhu. He said, what is best? What kind of chanting is best? Silent, quiet, out loud? Haridas said, if one is chanting out loud, not only do they themselves benefit, but everyone, the birds, the bees, the insects, the trees, the humans, the animals, everyone else also benefits. So loud chanting of the holy names is the best. And we might not realize it. It might seem like it's annoying. It's annoying to the demonic tendency inside. I don't like to hear Hare Krishna. It's disturbing my maya. It's disturbing my sleep. But in this case, this is the kirtan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his eternal associates. What is more beneficial for those jivas than that? To rescue even one jiva from this world is infinitely more benevolent than opening up millions of hospitals. What to speak of allowing millions of people to just sleep in the lap of Maya? So we hear Mahaprabhu saying, Jeev Jago, wake up Jiva, wake up. Gora Chandra Bole. Mahaprabhu is saying, Kota Nidra Jao Maya Pishachira Kole. That Maya has captured you in her lap and has held you for so long, but now it is time to leave her. Leave the lap of the witch of Maya. Leave the lap of the witch Maya. Take shelter of Sri Harinam. Chant the holy names of the Lord. By this we see, even in Srimad Bhagavatam, that when Srila Goswami was speaking Bhagavatam for 7 days and 7 nights, because it was the glories of Krishna, his names, forms, qualities, and pastimes, everyone who was hearing was feeling completely nourished. They didn't need to eat, they didn't need to sleep, they didn't need to go to the bathroom, they didn't need to do anything, because the transcendental glories of Krishna were nourishing every part of their being. Same as those Brajvasis who entered under Giriraj when Krishna lifted. They said, for 7 days and 7 nights, they were there just drinking the nectar of the beauty of Krishna. And in our children's song that we sang, we're not hungry, we're not thirsty, we don't even want to sleep. Right? Krishna lifted up the hill and then we entered underneath. There was no hunger, there was no thirst, there was no necessity for sleep. There was nothing. Everything was completely taken over. Sarvatma snapanam. Everything, mind, body, soul, everything was completely nourished by drinking the beauty of Krishna. So this Sri Krishna Sankirtan, Mahaprabhu says, Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti. All of your transcendental potency is present within your holy names. So those who are sleeping, whether they realize it or not, what kind of benefit was coming, not only to them in Navadvip, but to the entire universe from that one kirtan. That kirtan which is going on at night. So we have to look at what is positive, what is beneficial. Is it beneficial for everyone to be quiet and let them remain in sleep? To just do their material activities? Eating, sleeping, and mating and defending? and binding themselves in samsara, in maya, or to somehow help those jivas. In the same way, Mahaprabhu ordered that everyone should do Nam Sankirtan in the public. So many people were disturbed by that. My grandmother used to walk 6 blocks out of the way of the Harinam Sankirtan party because she didn't want to be seen in the vicinity of her bald Hare Krishna son jumping up and down on the street with a mridanga. 6 blocks out of her way to get to work. And so many people would be like, I don't like that. But still we are ordered by Mahaprabhu to do it, by our Guru Varga to do it. Why? Not only for our own benefit, but it begins to awaken the soul inside. By that process of Harinam Sankirtan, the soul begins to awaken to its nature of loving service to Krishna. So this is an order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Wherever you go, whomever you meet, tell them about Krishna. Always chant the names of Krishna. Jive doya Krishna Nam Sarva Dharma Sar. Give mercy to the jivas. How? Krishna Nam. Give them the name of Krishna. This is the essence of all religion, all forms of dharma. This is the essence of all of that. Now, there's so many points of discussion, but we will deal with that another day. Shri Srivas Thakur ki jai. Thank you for your questions. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Shri Srika Gurudev Spoke, Gurudev ki jai, प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम श्री नंदन गौर हरि की जय, श्री श्रीवास ठाकुर की जय, राधा बिनो बिहारी जी की जय,
गिरिराज महाराज की जय, राधारमण प्रभु की जय, हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, गौरभक्त की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि Thank you very much for being with us today and for giving me the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings of our Gurudeva and Guru Varga, glorifying Srivas Thakur. We look forward to being with you all tomorrow. Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.